Hello and welcome to another episode of Shuffling Notes, a channel where we love to talk about music. If you prefer listening to us than watching us, you can also find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Anchor. I'm your co-host Prankit.
And I'm your co-host Razi.
And today we are taking a deep dive into Jason Mraz's third studio album titled We Sing, We Dance, We Steal Things. That was released in May 2008. So this album was actually preceded by some EPs, which were appropriately named We Sing, We Dance, and We Steal Things. And then finally that led to the release of the main album. This is something I didn't know about, actually. Yeah.
Even I did. So the EPs can contain like all the tracks, the 12 tracks?
I think some of the tracks in each, yeah. So I this is just something I stumbled across when I was just researching for this album. I had no idea, but it's quite interesting.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it's a way of marketing, but I mean, thinking about it, like way of marketing back then, when these cloud music platforms did not exist.
Yeah, 2008 was a bit early for music streaming services. It was, I guess, the closest you could get, if I remember. I don't know if SoundCloud probably existed, but I'm thinking about YouTube when people would just upload songs.
I think YouTube existed. Yeah.
No, YouTube existed 100%. I can't remember. I think SoundCloud did exist as well. Anyways.
Yeah, SoundCloud. Yeah. Anyway,
so
that's a different.
14 years ago. That's not what we're here to discuss here. Okay, we'll cut this part out. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think this is. I know previously we have spoken about the album Mr. A to Z, which again, amazing album. Really encapsulates everything that Jason Mraz is or could do at that time. But I think this album is also sort of very close to me. I think this is probably the album I'd say I've heard the most, probably the same amount of times as Mr. A to Z, but there are a couple of tracks here that I've definitely heard more times than I have probably any other track.
This is one of the big booms of at least the 2000s, like the other ones being something Backstreet Boys and stuff. Backstreet Boys was 90s.
This
was like 2000s. Yeah. Like I'm saying, like along with that, there was another Maroon 5 song. A few other, like there were these boom factors in these songs, which there are, I think, in 2 or 3 of this album. And I mean, those songs, like they have so much fun. They have entertainment. They have a story going on and stuff. And I mean, when we get into it.
So yeah, let's just dive into it. So the first track is titled "Make It Mine."
Well, I don't want to wait no more. Oh, I want to celebrate the whole world.
So yeah, a fast-paced introduction to the album.
It's like the opening of the song has this feeling of what the song says, which is "Wake up, everyone," and then you're into the song and how can you sleep at a time like this? And the music isn't something that you would sleep to also. And I think so. I've noted this down. Like the first verse, like it kind of has the whole song's gist together. Like breaking it down is, I mean, the whole song is basically just something about how you should, step out of your dreams and actually make it happen. And, pushing you philosophically, a little poetically, romantically, in different ways.
Taste past the tip of your tongue, leap, and the net will appear. Is basically exactly. Right.
And so the first, like, broken it down, like it's wake up, everyone. That's I mean, that's clear. Like you just wake up and like you open your eyes and the mind to the world around you. And then there's how can you sleep at a time like this? Like there are forces at work and like problems to be dealt with that people need to stop ignoring and be blind to.
Mhm.
Like this is, I've just put it in a perspective, but
Yeah.
just getting
Yeah,
it together.
it is.
Like,
It can be difficult though, because I think in this track, like the lyrics, sometimes they feel a bit abstract because he's just sort of going on about something. But yeah, I agree
I,
to your interpretation a little bit. It is
that way
like
it's
take
also it's
action.
like a lot of Jason Mraz is captured into this, right?
Yeah.
Like Jason Mraz has this style of saying things, like style of his poetry has a style, which
Yeah, that's a very well said actually. His writing style,
Yeah.
basically. Yeah.
but his poetry just kind of makes a different sense. It's well, on the first glance it'll give you a different feeling, while when you, for example, this time when I heard the tracks, I have heard the tracks. Just, I mean, we've been fans of Jason Mraz since this album existed, but it's just like I've hearing the tracks, like listening to them, it just has so many other meanings that you can take out from it, rather than the one sort of playfully sexual perspective that he puts things in.
Yeah, it's
and
it's got like it's a bit of there's a bit of humor to his writing, and there's also like I almost want to say like a little bit of like clunkiness, for the lack of a better word, in the sense that it's there on purpose. Like he'll say something which will be, you'll think like, wow, that is so amazing, like that metaphor, and then the very next line will be very on the nose, or like, so it's like, he kind of pulls you back to like just have a bit of fun. There's very rarely there's songs where he just goes on some like metaphorical tangent for the whole song, but like generally he pulls it back with like a bit of humor, with like wordplay, which is like almost a kid could have come up with, in a sense that it's funny.
It's funny. It's relaxing in the sense that he's trying to make people understand that there's so much happiness in life. For example, the choruses have that the life that is surrounding you has a lot of happiness that is waiting to be observed, and that's also that's correctly put, like childlike. It is childlike.
Like taste
you're
past the
amazed
tip
by
of your
these
tongue.
small things, these small things that come up, and as you say, the taste past the tip of your tongue.
It's like
it's
such
stuff like that.
it's such a
those
weird
are
thing
like
to
nuances,
say. It makes
right?
sense, but yeah.
Like highlighting the nuances so well. Yes, and for the time it came out, like at least for us, it was I don't know. It was just like I mean, we didn't have so much perspective or meaning.
We were like, what, 14, 15 or something? Yeah. When the track came, 2008. Right. So, yeah.
It made sense. I mean, for our generation, it definitely made sense, this whole album. But
there's a lot of, you relate to a lot of it. Yeah, it does have, so I don't know if you've seen, but there's 2 music videos actually that this track has. One is just like the original music video. Is it? So I know one of them is like he's trying to write. He wakes up and then he's trying to write a song, but he's not having any success. And then you see him like walking around, do other stuff, walk around the beach, but then he comes back trying to write it. And then you just got Toka standing around in like weird positions or play like. He's standing with an umbrella, then he's just standing in the middle of the water. Like Toka being Toka. and the second music video is titled US version, where I think he's sitting in a cafe and then he's like trying to surf and stuff. I think I definitely enjoyed the first one a bit more. It's got more humor to it, which is similar.
I think that's the one I've seen. The US version is the one I've seen. I remember
the one where he's sitting in the cafe, then he's trying to surf. Yeah. Yeah, the first one's got that strange humor that his writing has, which is a bit absurd or childlike sometimes, but it works.
Yeah, I mean, this is a good. I mean, first of all, it's a good opening track for an album. It being the third album and all that is a separate thing to say, but just listening to this album specifically. Even like Mr. A to Z, like that was the first. that
Yep.
sort of that also had these different styles.
Miss A
that
to Z was
Mraz
actually the
could do.
second album. Waiting for My Rocket to Come was the first one, which you haven't actually spoken about. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But still, like even Mr. A to Z has
Mhm.
these all elements that, well, not all, but like all the different kinds that he can do in an album, like a 12 track or however many tracks there were. Similarly, like even in this, there are so many styles that we uncover, and this sort of captures a little bit of this and that, and a little
Yeah.
rhythmic.
It's got this
mellower.
like really like groovy party feel to it as well, right? With the horns, like
Yeah.
at like the 1 minute 40-second mark when you got that horn solo, brass solo, and then it like
Yeah.
transitions at the 2 minute mark into the bridge with like that synth sound. Like it's like wavy and very new agey. So it's like
It's also dreamy, like with
very
those,
refreshing,
with those
yeah.
I don't know, like a xylophone thing. The
yeah,
the
I know what you're
bells.
talking. It's
Like
yeah,
the
yeah,
bells,
yeah.
they transition to this other kind of music in between the song and
Yeah.
so on.
It's
But
yeah,
yes.
I think a good song to wake up to, like you said, and a very good sort of opening track, very positive, fast paced, something that like switches you on. You're like, all right, I'm listening. What you got?
Yeah.
Cool.
True.
And then we move on to the next song, one of my personal favorites, I'm Yours.
Well, open up your mind and see like me.
So this track, as I said, one of my absolute favorites, and I think that might be true for like a lot of Jason Mraz
Lord.
fans.
I mean, besides even Jason Mraz, I think
Yeah.
everyone has heard the song.
Yeah, it's very popular. I think, and
Yeah.
it's you could say it's like the quintessential Jason Mraz song in many ways because
Yeah.
it sort of captures his like there's that positive energy that he's always bringing, especially in his later albums, and that joyful playfulness we were talking about earlier, and again being although there's music, it is quite guitar based, like the main riff. So it really does capture him. But just, I guess, speaking about that guitar riff, the way he plays this song has evolved like quite a bit over the years. And one very sort of influential person to that was this artist called Sung Ha Jung, like on YouTube, where he does guitar covers. The way he covers, I don't know if you've seen it, he always does like these very elaborate and crazy good guitar covers where he's playing like the chord progression and the melody together. And I think Jason was like so impressed by it. He even did like live tours with this guy. But the way he played it, because originally I believe he used to play it on like power chords on his guitar, which is how this song is played on the track. But he's evolved it to play it, with like the capo on one of the frets and like playing open chords, and the song's had a life of its own. He's played around with the lyrics as time's gone on. He's evolved it, but the original is still a classic,
True.
and it's amazing.
You played with the
amazingly
capo anyway.
song.
You've been
Yeah, that's
playing
how I
with
play
the
it. I like that open chords, sound that he gets. I think what it is that the power chords work well, especially on this track, because you have music,
Okay.
a little bit of music with it. But when you're playing live and you've just got a guitar, sometimes the open chords just work better because it gives you a fuller sound, so you don't feel like you're missing an instrument, right? So it definitely works well for his live performances, playing it in that different style.
I what I can say about the song is it's got like I love the song. I have loved the song, and I have loved it with people. I have loved it in experiences. I have loved it in solitude. It's a song about love, to be loved, and I don't think it's also like the song like the specific time, like it picks up the pace when it starts with the open up your mind and see like
Yeah.
me. and so that sort of that vibe that it brings, it changes. I mean, you play the song anytime, unless like they're hardcore metal fans or someone, they would like to listen to it.
Even hardcore metal fans might.
Even hardcore metal fans.
Yeah.
I mean, there are those exceptions. Oh, there are always exceptions, but it's just I don't know. I've had too
And
many
I'll tell you why, because
memories
during
related.
that period of 2000s, even
Yeah.
I was a little bit of a metalhead. That's why, remember in the earlier episodes when we were going after some of the hard rock and metal bands. But
Yes, but this
song,
sort of just changes a lot of things,
Yeah.
and it's rappy as well. Like,
Yeah.
well, not rappy. It's rap. There's a bit of a rap
element
aspect.
of the way he
Yes.
sings. Yeah, like
Yes.
it's almost, and there's some of that in this album as well. But
He
I
does the
think this-
rhythmic
Yeah.
rap, which he does, which is
Yeah.
one of the good ones. Is Gypsy MC.
yeah, Mudhouse Gypsy.
Yes.
But yeah, this I think this style has been adapted a lot more since this song has come out. Like from what I could remember before this track came out, there's a lot of, I guess, acoustic singer songwriter type people with you could say a similar sound. But this song, and I think in general, Jason Mraz's like style, musical style, writing style, it sort of kicked off this new type of live performances, which artists have just taken it to another level now. But and even like
I would agree. I would agree
Yeah.
to that. There's one of his live ones, which I think one of the ones that we the Earth the ones that has the beautiful
93
mess,
million miles.
the beautiful mess live, which is that one.
Yeah. That you're talking about the collection Live from Earth or something.
So that
yeah.
like that was one and this is out of respect that I say that that was one album that I heard him live, and he was handling the crowd, even in Gypsy he's handling the crowd very similarly, well, in a much more modern fashion and in a much more Mraz fashion. He was handling it, but I could see like something how Morrison used to handle the crowd, like Morrison being the rock
Always
star.
going back to Jim Morrison.
But he has that. That's the vibe I got, like after listening to that live album, that the way he's handling the crowd, and you mentioning it as well, that there's a style to how he handles the crowd. So
Very
sure,
engaging.
that's like more evolved back from the 60s 70s, but it's again like he's trying to do stuff with the music while he's also trying to preach as well as have fun with the audience. Like there's that aspect to it. Like he's enjoying the music himself. That's what Morrison did.
I mean,
That's
he
what
always,
Morrison
when he's
is
live as
always
well,
doing.
he gets like the audience to sing a little bit, and he's always like splits the crowd, like now
because he's enjoying, he's having fun, right?
Yeah.
So he's just having fun doing the song, and that is a factor that I see. Like Morrison used to have fun just being on stage, and I mean the whole band, the other three members are just playing and jamming, and he's just standing, he's smiling, he's enjoying the music. Similarly, like he used to do, and with the one with the tocarivera.com, the Wikipedia, you should be
someone create a Wikipedia page for him.
Stuff like that, like it's evolved, but it's a different fashion of how Morrison might have handled the crowd.
Yeah, no, you're definitely right. It is.
You've seen him live as well, right? So
yeah, and I mean, generally, I always feel like Jason Mraz is one of those artists that on album, and I think I said it in the previous when we did Miss A to Z as well. Like on album, he sounds great, but live, he's just better. Like I don't know how exactly why, but it's just he's more experimental. He's more, like you said, engaging with the audience, and he's just in his zone. A lot of times you'll just find me listening to like his live versions of songs where he's just enjoying it so much. So this track was actually originally released in 2005 on on a limited edition EP called Extra Credit. That was released to actually promote the Mr. A to Z album. So that was the demo version of this track, which is basically him just on the acoustic guitar. It's much more sort of laid back. I think the lyrics are almost the same, but the way he sings it is a bit different. Like, you know, that part in the middle, like, and like even some other elements towards the end. He's got like overlapping voices coming in. So there is that demo
in
version.
The newer version, but that wasn't there in the demo version.
In the demo version, it was different. The way he did it was slightly different, because most of the song is pretty much the same in terms of the way he's singing it, just him on the guitar. But it was definitely like an earlier version that he had that they released in 2005.
So even the one that you just mentioned, that, you know, like over the years it has evolved. The one that we heard was evolved over
by
the
2008
years.
from 2005. So what happened was, when he released it in 2005 as part of his that EP, he started performing it live at gigs. And in that period, like 2005, even before 2004, he had started performing it live. It had become quite a hit, like among the live crowd. So, and you can imagine it's one of those songs as well, right? So I guess he finally then released it properly on this album. And he was nominated for Song of the Year and Best Male Pop Vocal Performance at the Grammys, the 51st Grammy Awards. Got a bit of recognition there for being nominated. And he's spoken about this song a few times, like in terms of like how he came about to writing it. But it's like it was pretty effortless, is I think the way he put it. Like he just sat down and he just wrote it. Like it just, you know, he put the pen on the paper and it just came out. He didn't have to think too hard, I guess.
Is that something he said? Like is that something he's mentioned? Oh.
He's spoken about it. Like I think he's done a couple different interviews where he's spoken about, like, because people are always asking about this track, even when he's playing it live and stuff. But I think you can tell it's just come from the heart. But there's like a weird reggae feeling to it as well. I think the way that the rhythm goes and the chord progression changes, and also like the background singing, like, you know, with the toka doing some of that harmonies in the background. It's got a very fun vibe,
groovy and fun. Yeah. I mean, it's. I would like put it as a beat song, just flat out. It's a beat song.
Yeah.
And it's got a beach music video as well, guys.
Yeah.
Somewhere there. Yeah. It'll be somewhere here, somewhere there video.
Precisely. Yeah, and then so from I'm Yours, we get to another one of my favorites, titled Lucky, which was performed by Jason Mraz, but also it's a duet with Kobe Kailat.
You hear the music, feel the air, I'll put a flower.
So yeah, such a beautifully done duet.
I think this would be like when back in the time, like when I was still getting into music, which So this would be the second or the first, don't remember the timeline. Besides this, there was the song
We laid her next to him beneath the willow.
Whiskey Lullaby. That's the Alison Krauss, I think, is the one who's featuring in that.
And
so that's these are the two duets that I really liked back
Brad Paisley.
In those days.
I think his name
Brad Paisley, yes.
Right? Yeah.
That's the guy.
I'm going to do Brad Paisley at some point. Anyways. Yeah. So, I mean...
this is I just adding on to, like, this is a good duet because it sort of... the playfulness that Jason Mraz's voice has, so, like, it complements that playfulness rather than being of, like, mature or more well, not mature. It's like just the right amount. Like, I think they probably would have been the same age when they did it. Because that's the voice that comes out.
Yeah, Mraz became a fan of Kobe. I'm gonna butcher her name again. Kyla. I probably should have googled this beforehand. It's too late now. just overdub my voice pronouncing it correctly. So he became a fan of her after hearing her music on MySpace. And then I think he got in touch with her and he's like, let's write and sing a song together. So it was definitely, it wasn't an afterthought that, oh, we need a singer, need a female singer, who do we pick? It was very organic. And they did win the 2010 Grammy Award for Best Pop Collaboration with Vocals. Man, these categories and subcategories can get really weird. There is a Spanish version of the song as well called Suerte, which was recorded alongside a Mexican singer.
Suerte que despierto junto a ti, suerte que sentí lo que sentí.
Even that Spanish version is done so well. Again, the voices complement each other really well, and you still have that playfulness. So that it still works in that other language. And you got
It's
Jason
also
Mraz
that the
also singing
song
Spanish.
works so much because of what they're like, the dynamic that we're talking about. It works better because of what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Like it's basically, well, the story goes like it's two people who just love each other, but they can't see each other that often now.
There's like that long distance.
But it's also got that, the distance makes the heart grow fonder feeling.
Yeah.
It's got that feeling that, we're gonna make so much happen when we're together. And so like longing for that, as well as missing those reveries that they have, or the memories that they have. So like I'm saying, like the way that the lyrics go, also complementing the vocals, which complement the lyrics. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, 100%. And it's, and I guess the other sort of overarching theme is the fact that they are best friends in a way, right? Like that's why he feels lucky.
And they're lucky,
or they
and
feel
they're
lucky
to be best friends.
Yeah. So it is, and the way the song is designed as well. So like, you have your first verse, and then you sort of get that bridge with the voices overlaid, which is weird because it happens after like the first chorus. So you have the first chorus, then you get the bridge, and then you get the second verse. So
I don't remember the structure.
It's got an interesting structure when Kobe starts singing, and they're both like echoing the same sentiments. But yeah, I think this is, I would say, the quintessential Jason Mraz duet. But it is
probably.
Yeah.
No, there's another one
collaboration.
in the later albums, right? There's another duet.
Well, there's a duet technically later in this album as well that we'll get to.
Yeah.
When you're thinking about it, yeah. So, yeah, and then we get to a very sort of, I would say, intimate and seductive track titled Butterfly.
All I need to see you pull your knee socks up.
So, Butterfly.
I think I would agree that it's as you mentioned, the more intimate song, or like to put it in any other way, it's like he's referring to girl body parts as in his lyrics, but I think there's
You
rather
got that
more.
wordplay.
Yes, exactly, and it's, I think he's talking about a butterfly tattoo. While also, I think the only reason that a conclusion would reach to, this being a more sexual song is that he describes the girl's, body movements so closely, like like.
No, it's definitely
Ride
he
the
gets
bottom
like
lip and bite now.
Yeah.
Right, like drive the bottom lip and bite now.
Yeah. I mean, he gets like very he gets very descriptive, and also it's that like what we were saying earlier a little bit, where it's like we'll sing in metaphors, and then like the next line will be like very on the nose, and
Yeah.
so he does that, I think, in this track quite well, like walking that line. But I think there's like this element that a lot of his like love songs, or they tend to have like this element of almost like sort of like worshipping the person you're dating or you're with. He's like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like he treats his partner, or at least in the lyrics or in his songs, like it's like she's very highly regarded. And it's almost like he's like worshipping her. It's there in some of the other tracks as well, as we'll get to it. But it sort of comes out a little bit in this track. And again, you've got like the use of horns, like in the brass section, like in Make It Mine, which gives it that feeling, that groovy feeling.
Very groovy. Oh yeah. This song is, I think this song is one of the most grooviest
I was reading,
that's come so far. Yeah. And it's a good bedroom jam. This song is a good bedroom jam. Like you would listen to it and you would feel pumped, good mood, as well as it's playful with the lyrics.
So I was reading like how he came to write this song, and it was basically he when he was making this album, he took a break from it and he joined his friend's band, friend Bushwalla, and doing some background music, sort of background vocals, that sort of thing. And there was like a girl in the band who also did like a burlesque show, and she invited them over to see. And then like, I think the way he put it is that like he tried to imagine, because his music gets played in a lot of different places, and he was like, what if I made a track that could be played in like exotic clubs or those types of places. And he's like, it sort of challenged him a little bit, because he was like, he doubted that the type of music he makes is usually so like positive and uplifting. You wouldn't really play it in like that type of environment. And so he sort of went, I'm going to write a song which is like...
Yeah, that's a very similar thought to...
The way he put it, I think is...
That's a very similar thought to how... and John Mayer also tried his R&B style. Like, that was his aim, that, I just wanted to try my hands on R&B.
Yeah.
And then he made those songs. But so like I guess these singers, songwriters, they get to that point where they're like, okay, like I need to expand,
push the envelope a little bit. Yeah.
People should be entertained by the music. And yes, both of them have written like some, as we were talking about, like some crazy metaphorical as well as wordplays, as well as their perspective, which is humorous as well. And so that matches, but I guess that's a point to be noted. Like it's that people get there, that okay, I need my music to play in clubs, right?
Yeah, exotic clubs. Yeah. So it's definitely it's a bit of a left turn from like exactly the type of music he writes, but then not really, because it's still got playfulness in the lyrics.
And the rap aspect that Jason Mraz has, that is more, you can hear it more in this.
That rhythmic rap, yeah. Yeah, and then we get to the fifth track on the album, titled Live High.
Glory God, oh God is peeking through the blinds. Are we all...
So from, I'd say like a somewhat fast-paced track, we now get to like a very laid-back, right? Laid-back track.
Live high.
Yeah.
Live mighty. I mean, the meaning is completely different, though.
Yeah.
The meaning is not what it is.
Not your high. Yeah, I think it's a very interesting song. I think lyrically, again, it is a bit abstract in like sometimes the way that Jason Mraz writes these songs. but there's
Like God
definitely
peeking through the blinds.
yeah. There's definitely like I would say like almost like a spiritual quality to this track.
Yeah,
Especially
while also
yeah.
it's Mraz-esque,
Oh yeah, yeah. It's still
right?
Very Jason Mraz, and the writing as well. And then when you got like the choir or the chorus that sort of kicks in at like the 2 minute 45 second mark. Um, Again, it gives it that like almost like a church choir type sort of feel to it.
Oh yeah. There's okay. Yes, I was confused whether this was the one which had the children in it, but
No, that's a different one.
that's a different one.
Yeah, no, this one has that chorus in the background.
Like the church choir. Yes, that's
That
exactly how
type
it
of
sounds. Yes.
yeah.
Huh?
So yeah, it's got that. It's an interesting song. There's like a lot of I think musical elements as well that sort of give it that very relaxed feel. Like you got that shaker in like the right
Yeah.
channel,
And
very
the
subtle.
trumpets.
And then you also got that like lead guitar playing in the background, like giving it almost like a country feel, like one note here and there as the song keeps going on. So it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
well, let me play it for you. You'll see what I mean.
To always have an open hand and see him as a given tree.
That's the audio bite.
Yep. Yeah, it does have a, and again, like being Jason Mraz-esque, it's basically like a very positive sounding and positive pushing, positive philosophy, and
Yeah.
just trying to make people understand that there's the good sides of life.
Yeah.
It's the happy sides of life that he's talking about only, and that, I mean, that's nearly in all of the songs. This one has a laid back couch feeling to it,
Yeah. I mean,
right?
it
Like
just
you're
it's
just sitting back and just listening
Yeah.
to this, and it's like you can move to it, but it's still the, as we mentioned, reggae. There's a reggae feeling.
Yeah, and I like it's very much like with that reggae type vibe, but also like it's like you do what you want to do, but like do it right type. Live high, live mighty, but live righteously. Like
Yeah.
like that live and let live type sort of feeling to it.
Just living it easy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's again like it's a fun song though.
Yeah.
Like it's got its visual cues as well as just sort of motivational for a as I would a low day. You
Yeah.
can like listen to Live High and feel better. Maybe you can try. But yeah, this is I've written like there's a touch of religion, like it's not the centerpiece of the song, as you mentioned, like it's not spirituality or basically like God peeking through the blinds. That's something that's also like, if you see it visually, like won't it give you like an introvert vibe, right? For someone who's locked up inside his room, and probably the people like, well, for us who were hitting puberty and being locked up and just sort of seeing the bright sides of life. I mean, just taking it back in that time zone.
Yeah.
And it's
Like a
it's
comfort
got
zone.
that same thing.
Yeah.
The comfort zone, yeah.
Yeah.
And the God, so specifically this line, like the God is speaking through the blinds.
Yeah.
Are you actually standing naked?
Yeah. And I think
or dressed at the right date and time?
yeah.
Something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah. Like I think
So,
to that end where it's because you got that, like we said, like the spiritual quality with the chorus as well, and that community feel to the song, And then even like, towards the end, like there's a bit of clapping and like ambient noise. It was like, he's singing with like a group in like some community place, so it really is.
When the choir joins in.
Yeah, yeah. So it's got that type of uplifting feeling. But also I think on the album, it sort of serves as like a pause in the sense that we had a couple of very upbeat and positive and like energy, like songs full of energy. And this one, I think pauses a little bit close to the middle of the album, right? Taking a step back from all the fuss and all the high energy.
This is like a step by step to the next track, Like the tempo just sort of sets back.
Exactly. And I think that then quite nicely transitions into the next track, titled Love for a Child.
Empty cup and filling it up with a little bit more of innocence.
So I think this track is sort of, as the previous one, it slowed down the album a little bit. This sort of takes it to a more sort of a bit of a mellow turn after some happy, positive energy songs. But it does follow through a little bit in terms of musical style. Like you still got that, that lead guitar I was talking about, like just playing with the music up and down. So it sort of carries that on, but it's definitely, I think, more I'd say this is one of those tracks which doesn't have necessarily the same level of like playfulness or that positive energy. This is quite serious, and I think it is about his
with the theme. The theme that it follows is different. I mean, it's his parents splitting up, and him being at the eye of the storm, and sort of observing everything. And even then, like I would say, like he was able to put it in perspective of a naughty way as well, as well as that there is light at the end of the tunnel. That mindset is there, and it's gonna be fine. And what I really like that line though, like the way, was it mom who put your dad out on his ass, or the other way around?
Yeah. So I mean, the writing is it is very well written, and so just to mention here, it was co-written with, I think, the producer Martin. I want to pronounce his name wrong again. Tarife, and the songwriter pianist Sasha Skarbek, who I believe also co-wrote the "You're Beautiful" track for James Blunt.
Okay.
But yeah, the writing, it's very like there's a raw feeling to it, but it's also like a dream. And I think going back to what Jason said, it's very much that like it's like loosely based on facts. Like he doesn't remember much. He was 5, but from those like dreamy memories that he has, he sort of put it together into like a song. There's a lot of stuff like he went through. I think their house was like robbed at some point. They were robbed and they were burgled. It's like separately, I believe. And there's a lot of stuff that
they've got the same quote from the same article in front of me.
Yeah, the San Diego
Union Tribune.
Yeah.
So I was just reading through this, and it even in his interview, the way he's expressing himself is so Mraz like, because like he's like, we got burglarized, burgled.
Yeah.
Like that's the transcript that I've got. So he's just, and he does that in his songs as well. Like just play around, just twist the word a little to make it, just kind of make it playful. So that's one. And the way he's describing, like it did have its effect on him, but again, like putting back into the kind of music he wants to create. He wants to create this happy output. That there's a positive outcome to things. That's one perspective that he does put this in.
Yeah, I got it also like an interesting quote from like him, because once he was like backstage, or he called his mom before going on stage, because he had never asked his mother like how she felt about the track. So he asked her, and like she said, like I try not to listen to that song very much. It's a beautiful song, but I just wish it was about somebody else. Uh, but yeah, it's as you can tell, there's a lot of raw feeling he's put in, and I think it comes out in his singing style as well. Because usually, like his voice, it's got like a smile to it whenever he's singing.
Yeah.
It's almost like if you close your eyes and you're listening to him, you imagine he's smiling while he's singing. But in this track, his voice sounds really tired. Like there's this tired element
True.
to it.
That's
the
true.
way he sings it. So it really does set this track apart quite a
Experienced.
bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, experienced, but it's like he's gone through a lot. So it's like he's showcasing a slightly different side of him. Also, not just from like a lyrical story perspective, but also from like a singing style and like where he's drawing the energy to sing the song from. It's like a different place to where he generally draws his energy from for his other tracks.
True. That is true, yeah. And like, so as this is in his own words, that he basically used to tell his mom that he's going to his dad's and then go out for the weekend and then learn things the hard way. Like, the plan's basically backfiring on him.
Yeah.
So I think visuals of that is also mentioned in the song. There are one or two instances where there's a couple getting steamy in the car parked in the drive and stuff like that. I think those would be the visuals of
there's some
night
reference
out.
as well to like being too young for something. Like there's definitely like a bit of a hard, rough childhood. And it's very rare you get that insight into him, because usually he always displays a very
in this way. Yes.
yeah, because usually he's very positive and you'd imagine he's had the best life possible, right?
Yeah.
It's he's
But that's not true at all.
Yeah,
apparently.
And I think the way it's placed in the album, coming off of Live High, this one, you take that slight turn into something more mellow, and I think then we transition into the next song, which is slowly bringing you back up from where this song leaves you emotionally, titled Details.
But musically, it goes further down in the tempo than the next track.
And then, titled Details in the Fabric, featuring James Morrison.
And hold your own, know your name, and go.
So, this is, again, I'd say like one of my favorite Jason Mraz tracks. I know I've said it a lot in this album, but this is favorite in a very different way. It's a very different style of his song. Like different style in terms of like songwriting as well as singing and lyrics, similar to how the previous one was also a bit different, but it's got that positive message to it, and I describe this as like my comfort song. In like, if things are not going the way you want it to go, you just sit back and listen to this track, and everything's gonna be all right.
True. I remember Akshay introducing me to this. He introduced me to Jason Mraz, and introducing me to this song specifically, and it was the days of SMS. So I was messaging and asking him like, do you like tell me more songs like Details in the Fabric? And I have to listen to more songs like Details in the Fabric. This was just it was so uplifting. It like fixed wounds and stuff. I mean, wounds, I'm saying like just in general, just not even the relationship sides that were back then, even the any sibling, family, you speak of it just made sense, and it calmed you down, and it helped, and the way it goes, and the way, like now putting it in a broader perspective, like with the way it follows through after after the previous song, which it's like Love for a Child, which had its theme to it. Coming from that, and this is, even though we've heard songs like Making Mine, which is, him pumping you through bad times or whatever, this is like him pumping you through
Depressed times.
this the times, like in a different way.
Yeah.
Like he's pumping you through them, but in a different way completely from Make It Mine.
Well, I'd say Make It Mine is more about
anything.
I think Make It Mine is more about like, seize the day, like get up, do it, capture it. Well, this one is
Carpe
more
diem.
about like let it go, just sit down, relax, let it happen. Like, it'll turn out okay. You don't need to be in control.
No, because the chorus goes like, and hold your own, know your name. So like, stand up for yourself. Like don't lose yourself in something or in someone so much that you sort of lose your identity. So like, push yourself through it and
go your own way.
You won't feel as weighted as you did before, and that will help you to push through it.
Yeah.
Because also, like, I think this is the most highlighted part of the, if it's a broken part, replace it. If it's a broken arm, then brace it. If it's a broken heart, then face it. Like, it's a very apt way of the problem and solution, like putting it together. But, and yeah, it's a lovely song, though. It's a lovely song.
Yeah. So the story behind this is he was in this group of songwriters, like 8 and 9 singers, and that guy Bushwala that we mentioned before, he was one of them. So in this, they used to play this like songwriting game where they'd have 48 hours to create a phrase into a song, and the phrase that he was given was sewing machine. Hence, he got that line right, Mother Nature's sewing machine. And then what he did was, at the same time, he got a voicemail from Bushwala, who was like really, going through a bad day, and like he yelled at his neighbors and everything. And that's like what you hear in the beginning. And so he sat down, sort of on that voicemail, he wrote this song. And then the next day he received another voicemail from him, which was like, oh, everything's fine now. Which is like that last...
Which is the ending,
Yeah, the end tag of the voicemail. So it's like, it's such an organically written song, which is, he's in the situation where he has to write a song for the songwriting game, and then something happens in real life, which is like pushing him to actually...
inspires,
So it's almost, the way it came about, like the series of events that happened, which for any song happened, but this one particularly, it's evident. How he got to write it, where he got the inspiration for, is pretty amazing. And I've got to say, James Morrison's voice, it works pretty well here in the choruses, and
he's in the choruses only. Like, is he just he's backup, or he's
and the second singer, when you hear that second voice when they sing the choruses together, it works quite well.
That, I mean, it sort of so like it sort of smoothens the edge of Mraz's voice and like flows into Morrison's. I think there's
even Mraz's voice is so different in this track. It's very like mellow and like very raw, and I think that's why it's sort of complementing with James, I think, so well.
I mean, going by all the tracks in this album, Jason Mraz's voice in this song is like Danny's voice in the scripts I'm Yours.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I see what you mean.
Like there's a similarity in the kind of range they're going with of the softness or the, I don't know, huskiness that they are bringing to the voice, which is very rare in their songs. I mean, script songs are not at all with the husky voice.
But that,
I mean, they're supposed to be like lyric sort of oriented. And I'm Yours is like similarly acoustic. Even this is nearly
primarily
completely acoustic.
guitar based. Yeah. And in this track, it was actually happenstance because I think when they were going to record, James just happened to be in the studio, and they wanted to have a second singer on it, so they thought let's have James do it, and it just again the series of things that had to happen for this track to exist. Right.
Wow, this is what the third or fourth organic track that we're discussing of in the same album.
Yeah.
Like, something organically put through, or, just something that has organically evolved even.
Yeah.
For example, I'm Yours.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, I think it's definitely, again, a different side of Jason Mraz, this track. But it works very well.
Yep.
And yeah, I think after we have a few of these slower mellow tracks, we get back on that hype train with the fast-paced tracks with Coyotes.
And when the coyotes they sing in the park.
So yeah, Coyotes. It's a sort of coming back to that fast-paced Jason Mraz sound that he had previously in the previous tracks.
Yeah.
But I would say this track is more musically, it's a bit more different than some of the previous tracks. Like there's guitar in it and throughout the song, but there's a lot more musical instrumental elements and sound effects. And
it's more beaty than
there's a lot more rhythm to it as well.
Yeah.
But this is definitely, I would say, out of the album, one of the lesser sort of guitar-based tracks.
Yeah, that's true. It's also, I mean, it's a very abstractly written song as well. Like, it's an abstract theme.
Yeah.
It's basically like Coyote is the one who got away. Like, that there's a man who's lost a girl, and the girl is like one of the coyotes.
Yeah.
And that's like the theme. Like, the theme of this song is also like the one who got away, like the girl who got away, and as well as the song kind of being more on the fictional side of things, like factually, as
it's written in like metaphors and analogies.
Yeah, but like, again, it's a story or a concept that there is in the song that follows. But previously it was,
of like chasing
him
after,
talking about his experiences and stuff. But here he's talking about just this kind of mystic kind of figure who got away.
Yeah, no, 100%. And it's like you said, like the one that got away, chasing after her, you can't have her sort of thing. Like, there's this element of going after. And I think with the music as well, it's got some interesting like transitions at like the 51-second mark or at the 1.5 minute mark, where you got like a bit more of like the operatic music coming in.
Very,
and especially
very short sample.
So the music takes you in different places because, like I said, it's more there's more music in it in terms of instruments and variety.
It's got a very lesser used synth sound as well in between. Like, I don't remember the timestamp, but there's one synth sound that comes in, and that's
it's like buttons beeping or
that's
something.
Not used.
Yeah.
Yes, like buttons beeping. But in the tune of the song.
Yeah. And then also like towards the end when you got the kids in the chorus, you again feel like it's almost like it's having a crush. Like, there's an innocence to it, even though like you could say the song can get with that concept of the one that got away. But then when you get the kids singing it along as well, you can really feel that there's like an element of innocence that it brings to the track about like the one that got away, or like a crush that you have as a child. All right.
True. It's also like I'd never heard this. Like, I heard this while listening for this episode. It's like in the end, there's the children choir which comes in, and that's where it ends. And it ends with this very short note of the boy singing. Like the outro is the boy, just this boy voice, and then those like then there's Jason Mraz like, can you get closer to the mic?
Close to the mic.
Sure. That's something
nice
I had never heard, but that's where the song ends, rather than just that single boy vocal coming in. Like, actually, it ends with this conversation that happens between Mraz.
It's like an
and
outtake in the
kid.
song. Yeah. Yeah, no, very interesting track. And I think you always have Jason Mraz showing a lot of variety or range, like in Mr. A to Z as well, with different types of tracks, different types of music, trying to sort of push that envelope a little bit from just his usual style, in different done in different ways, different flavors.
True.
And then we get to the 9th track on the album, titled Only Human.
But we keep paving over paradise, 'cause we're only human.
Only Human. I think it's quite an interesting track. I think musically, this track reminds me of like almost like, you know, like soft rock, like the intro and even like the chorus of it. It's got like that soft rock feeling, just without the distortion, as well as like the drumming with the cymbals and everything.
Yeah. So, do you know, like the first song, "Make It Mine," has an acoustic version as well. Does this have an acoustic version?
I mean, it's got a live version, which is acoustic, but I don't know if there's like a.
I will listen to that.
Yeah.
I'm just interested to just
Compare.
listen to the acoustic one, because like
Yeah.
"Make It Mine" also has this groovy, jammy vibe, and it's same over here. It's like it would be interesting to hear a acoustic take on this off.
But like the way
Jason
he
Mraz.
sings, even like the, you know, even if you isolate the music out, and even like just if you take the chorus like that, you know, like you can imagine like Creed singing it or something, you know, like it's got that like that's why I call it like sort of like a soft
Creed,
rock, but it doesn't have that distortion and everything, but the way he sings it,
it's like pop rock.
pop rock, soft rock. And the bridge as well, like it's very differently done in the sense that the melody kind of diverges, goes into different places, but still contained, like slowly flowing down. So it's I think just musically it's very interesting.
All breathe in.
There's one lyric of it, like, if that's our only excuse, how do we think we'll keep on being only human? Like that's also kind of going towards the humanity. I mean, the earth is dying kind of movement, the green movement.
The
right?
environmental.
Like it's kind of also denoting that aspect.
Well, I think he puts that like his sort of like humor or like irony to it, because like the way he says it, right? It's like, you know, they've got their right to live, whatever, but we keep taking over paradise, but we're only human. So it's got like the way he addresses it. It's almost like he's not arguing one way or the other. He's just putting the facts out that like, look,
and also like the answer to each. I mean, the problems that are being caused is because we're human. We're only human.
We're only human as an excuse. I remember I couldn't find it, but there was at some point I remember watching some live video or something. I could be making this up. But I remember he was talking about, I don't know if it was during his childhood or when, but it was something to do with like he had this tree growing in his backyard that would just like grow slowly year after year type of thing, which is, I think you have a bit of that. I can't remember what the exact context was, but you do have that in this track where it's like, you know, nature, like, you know, it would still be there after I die type of thing. I can't remember what the exact line was. but he does reference, like nature is still going to be there and nature has its way. So there's
paving over paradise
Yeah.
and like planets, talking about a revolution. The natural laws ain't got no constitution. Like there's stuff like that also that comes in, and the answer to all of this is that it's we're only human.
You know what this song feels like? It's like you're sitting there in a garden and you're just high, like out of your mind, and you're just looking at a tree or some plants, and I feel like it's just his thoughts about all of it without trying to make a point necessarily. That oh, we got to do this, oh, we got to do that. It's just like he's just writing about it and singing about, like the contradiction of us humans, like doing what we're doing and nature doing what nature's doing.
Yeah, and we're doing. I don't know if there's like if you can draw a parallel between how humans are doing it and how he talks about nature, having no constitution of its own. Like it's kind of natural. That's the way it is.
Yeah.
So like if you can like draw a parallel between being only human and being, it's natural to be human.
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, it's very interestingly written, with a lot of, I'd say, a lot of existentialism.
Another interestingly, metaphorically again.
Yeah. But I think what's most important, a lot of these tracks, like he's just having fun with it, like musically and lyrically.
Musically, like the way that you mentioned, like the chorus goes like and he's kind of mocking it as well, that we're only human. Yes, we are. And then that stretch of R.
Yeah.
Like it kind of it plays around with, maybe mocking that we're only human. Oh yes, we are.
Yeah. Exactly. And it's got I think it's interesting because I think with a lot of these tracks, I feel like they've tried to go in different musical directions. So the type of like effects they use, like in this track, in the pre-chorus, there's like a sort of like a stereo effect that happens with the music. So it's the way they go about the production, it's almost like you have a different music producer on some of these tracks compared to some of the other tracks. But I think that's, again, them trying to sort of try different styles of not just editing, but like producing the sound and mastering it.
Yeah. There's a lot of instruments used in the song as well.
Yeah.
Like this one. Like there was one.
The drums are very dominant as well, I'd say.
Yeah.
Which gives it that
they kind of lead the
feeling.
song.
Yeah. And the cymbals.
Yeah.
So from Only Human, we get to the 10th track, the Dynamo of Volition.
I got the dynamo of volition, the pole position, automatic transmission with low emissions. I'm a brand new addition to the old edition with the love. So your rhythmic rap that you were talking about, I think this song really, brings that out. And, you got an electric guitar in there as well. There's, again, a lot happening musically, but it's all about the pace. Everything is supporting that.
And the good times.
Yeah. Party vibes.
Oh, full on party vibes. And it's a rap that you can play at a party. Like it's one of those raps. Right? Like it's got the rhythm, the beat, the groove. And I don't know, I can't say much about the theme of the song, while it kind of has this feeling that, whatever choice you make is gonna have its repercussions. But
impact,
as he mentions, gonna be the shit, well, sue me.
Yeah. I think it's to what you said just now. Like, I think the title of the track sort of, I guess, encapsulates it. The dynamo volition, like, meaning to like use one's like will, power.
Yeah.
And then dynamo, converting energy.
Like choices.
Yeah. So like, dynamo volition, something that converts, your will into actual real world action or consequence or some real world change.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it would literally mean.
Yeah.
And even the song again, like it's got that Jason Mraz positive, optimistic push to it.
Well,
right?
there's that. Yeah, there's that.
It has that
playfulness in his voice as well. Again, and the way he's singing and the rhythm of the song, it's very full of energy, and it's. I mean, it's a rhythmic rap, so you're just going after one after the other. Although the lyrics, like you said, it's a bit abstract, but you were hitting those points earlier.
It flows through. It flows through, like especially with his voice, and he mentions also to write another rap tune, right?
Yeah.
So that's also there, and it just kind of captures this whole that make your choice and live by it, and it's gonna be fine, and again, like it's gonna be the shit well soon.
Yeah.
So it's kind of personally written in the sense that if you're listening to it, you can listen to it personally. You can talk about, as in, like, you can imagine yourself feeling that, right? Like, that's because it's the choices that you're making that are gonna have a consequence.
And I think the thing is, it's so fast-paced. It can be difficult to pay attention to the lyrics because musically, there's like again so much happening, and I always get distracted by like there's so many like electronic sounds, on the synth, and with the electric guitar, and again, it really stands apart like from the rest of the album. I keep saying that even for some of the previous tracks, but again, he's really showing his range. And a lot of like,
I mean, that's why there were like 4 different EPs.
And if you go to that, the title being like the dynamo volition, that dynamo, which is like, you could say spinning, converting like mechanical energy into electrical energy. It's like you feel that dynamo spinning throughout the song. It's got like many different layers, I'd say, from that perspective, what the title of the song is, the way the song is sung, what the content of the song is. But it is you miss it. It's so fast.
It's got a lot of energy. Yeah. That's true. I mean, it's the song gives you energy, and it's produced with energy. Like there's no stopping. Like there is no stopping. It's just that you have to keep on going. That's also, it's a fun song.
Yeah, it's really fun.
It's quite fun to just sit back and listen to it, and maybe write another rap. Just putting it together.
Yeah. And then I guess from like a fast-paced, fun song, I'd say you get to something which is, I'd say a bit more mellow in the sense that it's not as positive in a sense, which is If It Kills Me.
We get along much better than you and your boyfriend.
So the previous track, when it ends, right at the end of the dynamo of volition, there's like a dial tone where it ends at, and then this track starts off with that automated phone call.
Yeah. Connects through.
Yeah, which is sort of like, wait, what's happening now? So I think that little intro this song has, again, it's sort of that's that playfulness. It's taking that concept, which we'll get to what the song's about, but starting it off with that phone call. It gives it that
phone call
playfulness.
What, like a medical city dressing?
Yeah.
Tri-City Medical Center. Calling
Jason
for
Mraz.
Mraz, if you are
Jason Mraz.
Jason.
That
Mraz.
automated voice. If Jason Mraz is not available,
Mraz.
if Jason Mraz is not available,
but yeah,
the song, like the theme of the song is quite straightforward. Like it's just a girl that he likes, and she has a boyfriend, and he tries to get close to her, and every time he's just kind of, like, he mentions like, but I never said a word, I guess I'm gonna miss my chance again. that is kind of the whole song that
Yeah.
goes. And even if it kills me, and it's just not gonna happen.
Yeah. It's very much he's accepted it, right? That, you know, he's gonna miss his chance. It's not gonna happen, even though he wants it to happen. And the music, like, you know, even though I guess the content of the song is it's not as positive. There's a bit of sadness to it, but the way the music starts and the rhythm and the whole melody, it has this like, it's almost like a tragic comedy playing out with you know, with the keyboard and the whole way the song is structured musically. It doesn't sound like a sad song, at least the verses.
And also the title of the song is also just I mean it would make you question,
Yeah.
right?
It's like, man, this is going to be depressing.
Is it going to be like after coming through songs like Details in the Fabric or like Love for a Child and stuff, then If It Kills Me, it's like you don't know what to expect.
Yeah.
I think that's with a lot of songs. You don't know what to expect. Dynamo of Volition is you don't even know what to expect or the literal meaning of the song.
You know what's headed your way. But in the track, so you got that playfulness, and then the chorus as well. It's sort of very loud and gets there. So there's, I mean, throughout the track, I kind of get like, I don't know how to put my finger on it, but there's like a grand feeling to it, very large, but it's very tragic at the same time of him, you know, like not being able to be with the girl, you know. We get along much better than you and your boyfriend, but it's like, you know, he's got this best friend and he doesn't know what to do about it, or like he doesn't want to risk the friendship I guess they have. So lots of different ways to relate to the lyrical content, but it's the way it's put together, the lyrics and the music, it just gives it this sense of humor. The absurdity of it all.
I mean, the sense of humor is right in the track name, If It Kills Me.
I mean, starting off with that phone call. Right. Yeah. And from If It Kills Me, we get to, I'd say, my favorite track of Jason Mraz of all time, A Beautiful Mess.
Taking a guess when the only answer is yes.
So this is the last track on the album, and it's such a departure from where we started on the first track, from Make It Mine. But I'd say, after a couple of very like music-heavy electronic sounds, a lot happening, I think this is very sort of guitar-based. There's some strings, there's some beats and rhythm, but it is very sort of laid back, and you let just Jason Mraz do his thing vocally, like just sing it.
And it's very softly sung, as well as like him sort of stretching the notes with the "What a beautiful mess this is."
Yeah,
that stretches.
Even when he sings it live, he holds it so well, that like that low note.
Sure, that's the one, the live one.
Yeah,
I mean the one that we love. From the album, and it kind of captures the story of these two people going through different phases of a relationship, and they're just, you know, this have this kind of, they're insecure. The girl is insecure, she's a bit crazy, and you know, the guy is being patient and positive and stronger and stuff, and in that mess of a relationship, they wish to pull through, and that's what creates a beautiful mess.
That is the song. It's very, very, very nicely put. It is all that complication and almost like that love-hate relationship that the other person has, but he's just working through it, in fact writing a song about it. And I think also, like, musically, just, you know, the rhythm, everything is very different. It's not like a normal standard pop type song. And usually Jason Mraz songs are more fast-paced, catchy. This is, again, more laid back, but the way he plays the guitar, it has evolved again from what it sounds like on the track to what he plays now when he's playing it live. But it's as soon as, he starts those guitar notes, it just pulls you in to this story he's telling. And the way he sings it as well, it's almost like it's very different from his normal style. And if you watch it live, he preserves that softness, and he still does it. Like if you watch that Nobel Peace Prize concert version of it,
I mean,
live,
he has his renditions, which just kind of outstand because he captures as I remember from one of the live concerts, like he captures the essence of the track before he starts the track, and then he sort of combines that rhythm where he's the one is like everybody singing and then like that just sort of connects to the song with the guitar, and it kind of creates this atmosphere of love and positivity, and that, I mean, throughout the album, that's something that he's been trying to get through, the love and positivity.
There is
even
a
though
lot
I think
of
he's been friend zoned quite a lot, but
I think in general in the album there is a lot of that. I wouldn't say heartbreak, but well, you could call it heartbreak, but challenging relationship sort of thing. Like even if you go back, like if it kills me, but even like Coyotes, like there's a lot of that. Lucky. Well, I guess Lucky is more positive, although you've got that long distance. But it's
I mean, it's something that they're best friends and they're happy to be best friends. But it's also that I mean, if they're so close, then why are they only best friends? Kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, and they enjoy time with each other so much, and they just long to be with each other, etc. So again, like that kind of gets that theme of
longing or
a complicated relationship.
But it's I think,
but like overall, like in the album, it's just been like he's been friend zoned quite a lot. He's and that's just showing in every song, and even in Beautiful Mess, I don't know how much of it is like him describing his life or his one of the sections of his life, but it's the songs that he sort of organically wrote were all about this one theme where it's again like friends and not being able to fall in love while he does love, etc. That kind of follows through. And then the name of the album being We Steal, We Sing, We sing, we dance, we steal things. And that's something like you would do with a friend.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, I mean, I think
there's no love involved in this. It's just like an accomplice, like my companion, meet my companion.
No, I think definitely what you're saying. There is that element of I guess there's maybe a multiple relationships or a series of relationships that some of those songs might be based on, but a lot of them are like being pulled from like the same type of raw feeling. But I mean, the only thing I'd say is I do think Lucky is probably more of like a happy, because he says like lucky to be in love with my best friend, to have been where we have been.
Also because like there's a closure from the other side.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's more of like a long distance, like lucky to be coming home again. But some of these other tracks, and Beautiful Mess being one of them, it takes it it's a much more real or raw relationship in the sense of the complications and the challenges you face. But this track is definitely like, I'd say like a masterclass in both writing, in terms of like the lyrics and the way he picks his words. It's so careful and so delicate and intricate, and it's at the same time, it's also, musically, the way he plays the guitar and the music and the way the whole song is composed, the verses and the choruses, it's again very much a masterclass in how you could write a song. And I'd say this is probably, again, one of the most sincere songs. There's not that, he doesn't have necessarily...
It's a beautifully written song. It's written very well. And again, like he's pointing out the nuances in a relationship that sort of make it more beautiful, because it's more relatable. It's also that, a beautiful mess is something that you can live with.
It's like you learn to love the defects in a way, right? They say, like, the imperfections make it perfect.
It's not a defect; it's a feature.
Yeah. So like the imperfections is they grow on you, and there's elements of that in this track, and it's it is very raw, and it's just I'd say this is probably my favorite Jason Mraz track.
The way it starts and then like it ends on a different note as well. Like it starts with just the guitar and then comes the beat and that I just love those. Like I love the starting of the song. It's soft and it sort of soothes you into the song, and you understand things better. I'm talking about like what the song is talking about. It's you understand things better, and you just, because you're calm, you're listening right now, right? So that's an aspect that I think makes it stand out as well.
Yeah, agreed. And I mean, I guess that's it on the album, the 12 tracks. I do want to mention that so there is a bonus version of this album which has the tracks being performed live from various sources, and there's 2 additional songs on that, which is, you've got the cover of the Bob Dylan song "Man Gave Name to All the Animals," which is such a fun track. I've actually heard the Jason Mraz version of it first. I only later found out that there's a Bob Dylan version.
That's Bob Dylan song.
And the other one being Mudhouse Gypsy MC, the one we mentioned before, which is again so awesome. I wish I could watch it live. I did learn that, like, I think Mudhouse is a song originally by Bob Schneider, and I guess he sort of made it his own in this live version. But just amazing. You have to mention it. But yeah, you got to watch it live.
Honorable mentions.
Yeah. With Jason Mraz, I think his live stuff is just, it can be it's so different in a way from what's on his album. It's the same song, but he just has this extra energy when he's live. Right.
That's true. Again, like saying, like I was able to draw, since I have exceedingly watched, like in an exceeding number of times I've watched the Morrison live.
Yeah.
The concerts, recorded concerts, but I've like similarly listening to him, since like releasing live albums is a thing.
Yeah.
So his way of treating the crowd and his way of sort of getting the crowd together, feel the music that he's making right now, or singing or playing.
Yeah.
That's some similarity that I draw.
Yeah.
But I love the way he handles the crowd, and I was envious. Oh yes, I was very envious of you being able to watch Jason Mraz.
Yeah, Royal Albert Hall. He's always engaging, as he was there as well. Like, he even asked us to all stand up and sing along and stuff, because you got seats there, right? But it's I think coming back to this album, I'd say, to me, it's one of my favorite albums. It's difficult to choose with all his albums. They're so great. But this has some of the most, I would say, the impactful tracks to me personally, listening through it, like Details in the Fabric, Lucky, I'm Yours, and, Beautiful Mess as well.
Most relatable as well. Like, so
yeah.
In a way, well, there are more songs that he's, as he's evolved his songwriting and stuff, but this album is so much more um, as it comes out, I think, like as you mentioned, that so many of the songs have a backstory to it that they just sort of organically happen to be. So it kind of makes sense. Like this organically just fits in because it's
the way it came
it's
about.
actually part of life.
Yeah.
Like the experience that he's mentioning, they've actually been part of his life.
And it's very
especially
well
like
captured.
visuals and love for a child and stuff.
And I think you get to see very different sides of Jason Mraz that you don't necessarily on all albums. And what I mean by that is not musically, there's always a lot of diversity in his albums, but like, you know, you mentioned like in his honesty, you know, him sharing his childhood and love for a child, like the way it's so raw and open. And, you know, there's a bit more diversity in that emotional spectrum, I think, in this album compared to some of his other works. And I think that's what really draws me, is because it's very rare for Jason Mraz to write mellow or, you know, sad songs.
Yeah.
But he puts his own spin on it.
True.
But it still has that playfulness.
But he did had his twist on the song.
Yeah, exactly.
With Love for a Child.
Yeah. So amazing.
Humor and uplifting, and as I mentioned, like there's light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, exactly. The light at the end of the tunnel. So yeah, there we have it. We sing, we dance, we steal things by Jason Mraz. And we'll see you guys next time with something different. But for now, feel free to leave your comments and your thoughts and your discussions, whether you agree or disagree. Let us know.
Cheers.